Andrea, and I'm going to be educating you on lipid, digestion, and absorption. So first, what are lipids? Lipids can be defined as fat-like molecules that cannot be absorbed in water. These are considered hydrophobic, meaning they're water-fearing. Kind of like that. As opposed to our digestive enzymes who are actually hydrophilic, meaning they're water-loving. Now, let's start with how our lipids travel through the digestive system. Since they don't like water, they actually clump together into these larger molecules. Now, we'll follow our fats down the gastrointestinal tract and see how they're broken down and absorbed. The first thing you do is you take a bite of a big, buttery, greasy chunk of fat, and it's delicious and flavorful, but that starts the digestive process. Your saliva is released from your salivary glands, and this is the beginning of the long process of breaking down our fats. Now, in infants, we have something called lingual lipase, and that's what helps break down fats a little bit more for infants, but as adults, it's actually not very effective. Since this process is a little bit longer, we would say that the most important part is once it gets to the stomach, because this is where it really starts to break down for adults. But even though it's just a little bit in the stomach. So what happens is once these fats enter the stomach, that sets off the activity in the stomach, causing these propulsions that propel the food down towards the pyloric sphincter, which is at the base of the stomach. But only a little bit actually passes through. The rest gets pushed back into the body of the stomach, and it starts going into this churning motion to try to dispense those fat molecules into smaller droplets. Now, once that happens, the chyme is actually pushed back towards the pyloric sphincter. What's so important about that action is that the gastric lipase enzyme that actually helps break down those fats is most important in an acidic environment, and that's what's so important about the stomach, is the acidity level. So, after it pushes through the pyloric sphincter, we're in the small intestine. Now, here it triggers the release of CCK, which is a hormone called cholecystokinin. CCK is so much easier to say, but it's just as important. So, this hormone then triggers the release of stored bile from the gallbladder, and it's actually just stored there. If we all remember back to biology class, the liver and cholesterol is what actually is responsible for making our bile, but it's then transported to the gallbladder where it's stored, and that's where it's important, is in this lipid absorption and digestion. So after this, the bile acids break into these fatty droplets and actually act as an emulsifier, which encourages the fat to dispense throughout the watery fluid surrounding it and into the small intestine. This fat is fully digested, and that's usually when it comes in contact with lipase enzymes from the pancreas and the small intestine. The emulsified fats are called triglycerides, which is important. The pancreatic lipase and the intestinal lipases remove each triglyceride's outy fatty acid, and they turn, it's one at a time, and they're leaving behind only monoglycerides. This beginning of the process of breaking this down is important in the next step, because then this is due to a process called hydrolysis. The two fatty acids and the remaining phosphate are then absorbed. The smaller molecules can be dispensed right into the blood system, and the larger molecules actually have to be broken down into monoglycerides and cholesterol, and then they're packed with protein and then sent through the lymphatic system through lymph, transported back up to the thoracic duct that's near the heart, and released into the bloodstream. At this point, our body does its most important job. It can send our fats and use them as energy right away, or they can store them for energy to use at a later date. But that all depends on the needs of our body at the time. Now, that's all I have to say about lipid, digestion, and absorption. I hope you had just as much fun as I had standing in this beautiful weather being able to teach my awesome peers. I really enjoyed this semester, and I hope you enjoyed this class. Thank you.